I mean, just on that point. So my next question actually is linked to this whole dialogue around protecting local content, protecting local lawyers. There's obviously the big UK Africa trade mission next week, which is focused on legal services, and there'll be discussions around sort of greater collaboration between particular African jurisdictions and the UK. What would you like lawyers in the UK and other parts of the world, but given that we're looking at the UK specifically, what would you like them to learn from lawyers in Africa? And what would you like them to understand about your aspirations? I mean, I guess it's tied to some of this discussion just now, but what would you like them to learn about lawyers in Africa?
For me, one word: resilience. And I say this because, speaking from a Nigerian perspective, I think that lawyers in Nigeria should be given a thumbs up, and we should be called geniuses because we still are able to deliver to our clients despite some of the challenges, right? And some of these challenges are, for example, regulatory, right? Where you're dealing with regulators who have a lot of subjectivity, right, around how a regulation should be interpreted, and you're constantly before a regulator trying to explain your viewpoint, because things are just not black or white. So there are times you can achieve something for a client, because the guy behind the desk understands what you're saying, and you can do the same thing, next year, and the guy behind the desk has changed. He's not just open-minded. He just says, this is his interpretation of the regulation, and then your client has to go the long route and spend, inordinate amount of money or time trying to achieve something that ordinarily should be, done within a couple of days, right? So yes, and in my time lawyering in Nigeria, I've had these engagements to a point where regulators have actually changed their rules, right? The Securities and Exchange Commission, for example, I remember a transaction that I did, and for the first time, lawyers didn't even know they could file schemes for M&As. We just assumed that, it had to be a financial advisor or an investment bank, right? We just assumed because this is how it's been done for years. So for the first time, I filed a scheme for something a client was doing, and the Securities and Exchange Commission said, sorry, you have to go get a financial advisor, an issuing house, or some investment bank to do this. And I said, no, I'm going to do it. They said, why? I said, your rules doesn't say I can't do it. Actually, it says I can, because it says any body registered as a registered Securities and Exchange Commission consultant, and my firm is registered under that heading, right? So we had this to and fro, and they actually then realized that I was right, and they allowed me to do that and saved the client pots and pots of money, right? And on the back of that, they then changed the rules to give it greater clarity. So we see these things on a day-to-day basis, and so if they want to learn resilience, I think Africa is a good place.
And I think that sounds like resilience and creativity, because you're constantly
yes.
Think on your feet. Pheona, from your perspective, what would you?
I would say creativity. I would say creativity and flexibility. Things are not black and white for us in Africa. And this goes to Lord Denning's statement that the English law is like an oak tree. It's the resilient oak seed, and it can grow anywhere. What we've discovered is that it can't just grow anywhere. That oak tree has to provide shade and sometimes when you plant an oak tree under a house, it will break it. So we've seen what just transplanting some of these laws has done to us and to our cultures and to even just our traditional dispute resolution mechanisms. Right now we have a problem with, because we're trying to introduce mediation and make mediation almost compulsory in all our commercial processes, commercial court processes. However, the problem that we're having is that people do not, lawyers are still, the training is very adversarial. So you find that lawyers are sabotaging mediation because in their minds, mediation is just something you have to get over, then you get in court and get it over and done with. So Ugandan lawyers have had to actually become flexible and become business enablers as opposed to just lawyers, problem solvers. So I think the fact that our market is developing, having to help somebody incorporate an SME and then teach them all, walk them through their business into growth, into getting financing, has made us, I think, as Ayuli said, more resilient, has required us to be creative, has required us to also be client-centered, which I'm sorry to say, I do not think that a lot of probably international law firms are, where we are actually thinking ahead of the client and trying to make connections that will birth business for us. So I think I would say that the Ugandan lawyer or the African lawyer would probably teach the international lawyer and flexibility and creativity.